Are you new to prepping? Well, there are some basic skills that you likely should begin with that will be good building blocks towards ultimately becoming a well-rounded prepper. And although these may seem easy, I assure you none of it is. It only looks easy because the people you see doing it have been doing it for a long time. Just like with anything else, it takes practice. So the sooner you start learning them, the better. And the best part is that many of these things you can practice on your own and won't cost much, if anything at all. So let's take a look in no particular order. Number one, water purification. Water is life, and there are many basic methods of purifying water which are quite simple once you've learned how to do them. You can find water purification methods in many survival books, and there are hundreds of videos on the subject right here on YouTube. Remember, the important thing is to actually try doing it, right down to testing the water when you're done. Don't just read about it. Number two, the opposite of water, fire starting. This is a simple one that you can practice on your own with one or several of the different methods available for starting a fire without matches or lighters. I practice this in my own fireplace by starting fires the old-fashioned way. A fireplace or fire pit makes for a great controlled setting for experimenting with this. Number three, orienteering. The forgotten art of orienteering, otherwise known as map reading. We live in a day and age where almost no one can read a map anymore. Like many of the basic skills on this list, it has become an obscure hobby to most, all but forgotten in the modern age of GPS devices. But what do you do when that device doesn't work anymore? Number four, basic first aid. Often overlooked, you would be surprised how many people simply don't know first aid basics. I mean, why bother when proper treatment is only a phone call away? Dial 911 and wait. That is, unless you are unable to make a phone call and handle it yourself, which happens more often than you think. Do yourself a favor, spend a few bucks on a first aid book and read it. Better yet, practice some of the techniques you read about. Number five, procuring food in the wild, hunting and fishing. Contrary to popular modern belief, meat does not come from the supermarket. Someone had to round that animal up, slaughter it, and butcher it for your benefit. It didn't just magically appear between a pair of burger buns. Where the meat people eat actually comes from is out of sight and out of mind for most people the world over, thanks to modern industrialized farming. And those same people wouldn't have the stomach or know-how to kill and process an animal if their lives depended on it. And that's the point. Their lives might just depend on it one day. Number six, identifying edible and medicinal plants. Right along with number five, being able to identify edible plants and actually be willing to eat them could save your life one day. In addition to having nutritional value, many plants also have healing properties. And the best part, a book on wild edibles generally doesn't cost that much. Find one, study it, and actually go on plant hunts with your book. Number seven, building a shelter. If you were lost in the woods and there was severe weather, could you build a shelter? I didn't ask if you knew how to build one. I asked if you could. There's a difference between knowledge and application. You can look at a bicycle and figure out in your mind how the bike works, but can you ride it? Not until you've tried. So practice building a shelter. Number eight, self-defense. If you were attacked by a person or an animal, could you defend yourself? Better yet, could you defend yourself with limited access to a weapon or no weapon at all? There are very few people who actually know how to fight, and even fewer who can fight proficiently. Everyone should have the ability to defend themselves. This is an important skill that you should be working on. Number nine, knot tying. Another book for your survival library should be about knots. This is another one of those skills that has fallen away into obscurity as society has overdeveloped itself to the point where the people can't even tie their shoes properly anymore. Again, this is an easy, inexpensive book that you can learn from on your own. All you need is a couple of short lengths of rope or cord and some free time. And number 10, communication skills. And what I mean by this is ways to communicate without the use of your cell phone. Do you have or can you use a ham radio, a walkie-talkie, a CB radio? Do you know any other forms of distance communication that you can utilize to stay in touch with key individuals if your cell and landline and internet were knocked out for a long period of time? Really consider this. Remember, if you are isolated from communication, then you are trapped. That's right, there's one more, my little bonus for you. Number 11, physical and mental fitness. Do you exercise your body and do you exercise your mind? Two things you can do for free in your own spare time. There's a golden rule that applies to both your mind and body. Use it or lose it. If you don't exercise your body, it gets sluggish and weak. If you don't exercise your mind, it gets slow and cloudy. Keep your mind and your body fresh and sharp, and it will serve you well. Remember, knowledge is better than equipment. Too many preppers just own stuff. Get out there, practice, and learn. Experiment with these suggestions on your own or find classes in your area to work on these skills. If you have anything you would like to add to this list, please go ahead and post them in the comment section down below. They could be helpful to some of the viewers. Do give it a thumbs up and share it if you can. If you got anything out of the video, I would appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, do take the time to subscribe and check out some of the other video content. You may find something interesting. Remember that I can also be found on another YouTube channel called Coffee Talk. I will put a link to that in the description. So as always, stay frosty, folks, and thanks for watching.